Salem is a great place to visit, but living here is very different. And if you're thinking about moving to Salem and buying a house, there are things you won't notice on a weekend trip that will actually affect your day-to-day life. And my family and I have firsthand experience with this. I'm not a local. My family and I relocated here from another city. But before we even thought about moving to Salem, we had visited my brother who had lived here for a number of years prior. And we just looked at Salem at a different lens. We were here for the attractions, relaxing, having fun. But when you're making that move, you got to put on a different lens. How is this move going to affect your day-to-day lifestyle? What's your lifestyle going to be with the changes from where you are moving from? And in this video, I'm going to go over daily life, neighborhoods, weather, and who Salem is actually for. We are first going to start off about why people visit Salem, Oregon. And for a lot of those people visiting here just for a vacation, end up falling in love with the city and ultimately calling Salem their next home. One of the big reasons why people visit Salem, Oregon is for its rich history as a state capital of Salem. People come to the Capitol building, take tours, look at the historical sites and the surrounding buildings in and around the downtown area. Salem has a number of museums like the Willamette Heritage Center, where it talks about the rich history of Salem and how it got started. It also has really cool events there. We've got the Hallie Ford Art Museum, the Oregon State Hospital Museum of Mental Health, and we have got great historic homes. You can take tours of the Bush House and Deepwood Museum. Both have a rich history of the beginnings of Salem, Oregon, and show you exactly how the city was started. And those two places are surrounded by gardens and Victorian architecture. We also have some great theater experience in the downtown area. We've got the Elsinore Theater and the Grand Theater, which are both historic. They bring in live acts, plays, music, comedy acts, and other types of performances. And so it's a really cool experience to come here and watch those in an historic building. Another big attraction for Salem, Oregon is the Willamette wine country. We are surrounded by hundreds of wineries and vineyards, and it is all within 5 to 30 minutes out of the Salem area, depending on what part of Salem that you are in. And it has such a beautiful landscape. They've got events throughout the year, and we are known for our Pinot Noirs, but have different varietals as well. And people just love coming here, spending a weekend or spending some time exploring the different vineyards and wineries. Staying with the rich agriculture that surrounds Salem, we've got a great farm-to-table food experience here. We are surrounded by farmland, so a lot of the restaurants use and are supplied by the local farmers, so the food is fresh. We've got a great Saturday market experience here in the downtown area, basically from spring into early fall, where the local farmers come in and sell their produce along with other great local vendors. And one of the greatest attractions, and what was really special for my family and I when we first visited, was all the outdoor and nature that surrounds Salem. We've got parks to relax in, like Bush's Pasture Park right near the downtown area, Mento Brown Island Park, which is over 1,000 acres of open space. We've got Riverfront Park, which is a park that runs right along the Willamette River. We've got the Willamette Mission State Park, which is really close by, about 20 minutes outside of Salem, which is also a great nature preserve along the river. And places like the Oregon Garden, which is about 30 minutes out. We also have Silver Falls, which is about 40 minutes outside of Salem, that is known for its waterfalls. In fact, there's 10 of them along the Trail of Falls. Beautiful place to explore. And if you got little ones, we've got some great destinations for why people visit here. We have the Enchanted Forest, which is this quirky, small amusement park, nothing like you find at Disneyland or Universal. And this is a lot more quirky, a lot smaller, but really cool. Little kids would love it. Little roller coasters, log rides, and other types of rides and experiences. People dress up in characters, kind of tucked away in the hills in a forest, which is really cool. We also have the Gilbert House Museum, which is a children's museum in the downtown area, which is a very interactive museum for kids to run and explore, play indoors and outdoors. And with all of these great reasons for people to visit Salem, Oregon, this is usually the impression people first have before they start thinking about moving here. But of course, when you actually start thinking about living in a city, the reality sets in and things change. Now we're going to jump into some of those differences between visiting Salem and actually living in Salem. Now, as I mentioned before, when you visit Salem, as at least it was for my family and I, like any vacation, you're more relaxed. You're not on any time crunch. You're not thinking about where you're going to get your groceries or your amenities. You're just there taking your time, exploring all the attractions. Everything's new. Everything feels fun because, well, let's face it, you're on vacation. Your daily life, you didn't bring your daily life with you, or we hope you didn't when you're on vacation. And speaking from my own personal experience, everything just felt exciting. It felt new. There's just something in the air. And again, that has a lot to do with just being on vacation and visiting, not so much with the intent of thinking about moving or living here, but just enjoying our time in a new city and exploring. But when you start transitioning from thinking about a city just for vacation or visiting, you've really got to look at the city from a different lens. And that's what my family and I did. As I said before, we'd come to Salem a few times with just the mindset of visiting family, traveling, vacation, exploring. But then when we actually started thinking about making the move here, we had to look at how our daily life was going to be affected by our move. We wanted to know where our amenities were going to be, where we're going to go shopping. We wanted to know where all the amenities were going to be. Where were we going to go shopping for groceries, some of our big box shopping like Target and Walmart. We wanted to know more about where the schools were located, how close they were to the house that we were going to buy. We wanted to know how long it was going to take from getting from one end to the city to the next. We wanted to know where our favorite restaurants were going to be. For most homeowners and people looking to move to Salem, living closer to amenities beats out being close to the downtown area for most buyers. And when buying a house in Salem, you're really choosing your daily life, your errands, and how much time you spend in the car. I love doing these types of videos for people that are thinking about moving and buying a home in Salem because there just wasn't a lot of information out there when my family and I moved out here a handful of years ago. As a reminder, I'm Dave Fein with the Real Estate Dads at eXp Realty. And if you're thinking about making that move, buying a house, hit me up at the contact information popping up below or in the description of this video. If you like these types of videos, subscribe to the channel for more. Hit the like button to get this video out to more people like yourselves thinking about moving to Salem. Comment below. I'd love to hear any questions or comments that you have about the video or about Salem itself. I'll be answering them as they come on in. Now let's talk about the weather reality. And there's a big difference because most people, when they come to visit Salem, they're coming in during spring and summer, which is some beautiful, gorgeous weather that we have here in Salem. Some of the best. Now, I came from Southern California, and if I'm saying it's some of the best weather, I think that goes a long way because Southern California absolutely has the best weather. I'm not going to sugarcoat or try to pull the wool over your eyes to say that Salem has better weather than Southern California, but Salem during the spring and summer are so beautiful. It is lush, green everywhere, big old growth trees everywhere. Everywhere you go, you're just surrounded by nature and greenery, and that's just such a benefit when living in the Salem, Oregon area. And if you want a more detailed explanation of the weather here in Salem, check out one of my other videos that is specifically for that. But again, when people visit here, they're on vacation, they don't really get the full reality of what it's like to live in Salem. They don't get the gray skies that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes here. They get the near perfect weather, the great weather to go and explore, go outside and venture out and do everything that you want to do when you're visiting or are on vacation. But the reality is, and you should absolutely come visit during fall and winter if you can before moving here to experience what it's like. And even then, just coming here for a weekend or a week doesn't really give you that full perspective. But here in this video, I'm going to try to share a little bit of what that's like. During fall and winter, it is gray. And it is gray and a lot of rainy days. Now, that's not to say that the sun doesn't pop out during the fall and winter. It absolutely does. We do get some beautiful days during that time as well, especially during the fall times when the colors change. The pop of color throughout the city is really cool and extraordinary. But if you're not used to gray days, we get a lot of rain here. About half the days here have some sort of rain. Now, the good news is it's not this deluge or massive storms that come through that you'd experience in the south, northeast, or even parts of the Midwest. We do get some big storms, but most of it is just this light, what we call Oregon rain. It's kind of misty. It's just wet here. It's damp here. The biggest thing is the gray skies. When it's not raining, it could be cloudy, and that could be overwhelming for a lot of people, especially people moving from places that have more sun than we do. It took me about a year to adjust. I came from sunny Southern California, and that first fall and winter was a bit long, but now I've come to actually enjoy all 4 seasons that we have here. We get a little bit of snow. It doesn't stick much, but we do get some. When it comes out, we actually rejoice and have fun with it. The kids love to sled and walk around in the neighborhoods. The good news is we do get less rain than Portland and certainly less rain than in the Seattle, Washington area. And for a lot of people, this is not a deal breaker. It was not a deal breaker for stumbling over my words here. It was not a deal breaker for my family and I, and we were warned by people that lived in Southern California near us. They were our neighbors. They were actually from the Pacific Northwest, and they said there's no way you're going to get used to that because they knew we were born and raised in sunny Southern California. But the reality is not a deal breaker. We came here. We conquered the weather. We're doing just fine. The kids love being outside, whether it's rainy, cold, gray. It doesn't matter. They're outside having fun on their bikes, scooters. There's sports year-round here for them. We're a big sports family, but they There's activities, there's indoor playgrounds, indoor adventure centers. There are things to do, even though it rains and gray and gets a little bit cold here. But the reality is, it is mild overall when you compare it to the rest of the nation. We don't have the hot and humid summers that you do in the South. We don't have crazy snowstorms that last for weeks, or snow that even goes for a few months like you do in the Midwest. We don't have tornadoes. We don't have hurricanes. We don't have massive lightning storms or big storms that come through that last for days and days. Again, we do have storms, but more so a lighter rain, a lighter mistier rain. So overall, I'd say our weather is actually quite mild compared to most of the country here in Salem, Oregon. Now we're going to transition into talking about neighborhoods, what it's like as a tourist versus someone that actually lives here. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because when you visit Salem or when you go on vacation anywhere, you're not necessarily driving around looking at neighborhoods for living there. You're not looking at the amenities that are nearby. You're not looking into the schools. You're not looking into anything that you would want in your daily life when you're living somewhere. You're looking at more, when you're visiting here, you're hanging out in downtown Salem area. It's very charming. It's a small downtown. Shops are really cool. A lot of mom and pops and individually owned shops there. Some great dining experience there. Salem is getting more and more restaurants coming in and more of a culinary experience coming into Salem as more and more people are moving to Salem. And you're going to be exploring the wineries. You're going to be exploring Riverfront Park and all of the parks along the river and the nature trails. And you're going to be going to the museums, or if you're here for specific events like Iron Man or the State Fair or Hoopla or whatever it is that you're here for, you're basically zoned in on that activity and maybe some of the surrounding areas where that activity is. You're looking at it again from a different lens. You're not really exploring the neighborhoods as you would explore them for a daily life when moving somewhere. I clearly remember the first few times I visited Salem. I hung out in downtown a ton, went to explore the Capitol building, the Saturday market that we have there. We were here for the cherry blossom, which was awesome. And we were hanging out at the park, so we weren't really paying much mind or attention to the actual neighborhoods itself. Even when we went to go visit my brother, who was living in a great neighborhood, we weren't really, again, noticing all that much of the surrounding neighborhoods. But when you live or when you're thinking about moving to Salem, and typically wherever you are staying when you visit Salem, Oregon, is not necessarily going to be the neighborhood you end up buying a home in when you move here. When you come out here with the intentions of moving to Salem, I highly recommend you visit and explore all the different residential neighborhoods that we have to offer here. West Salem, North Salem, East Salem, and South Salem. And then even some of the other places like Kaiser, and if you're looking really smaller town, Independence, Dallas, Monmouth, and some of the surrounding cities that we have here in and around Salem area. And even though the city of Salem is a mid-sized city, about 175,000 people, and acts and feels more like a smaller town or a smaller city, we still have such variations in neighborhoods, and they make a big difference. There are neighborhoods that have a lot of hillside properties. So if that's something that's discouraging for whatever reasons, then you may want to avoid those. We've got neighborhoods that are more affected by the school zones and the school traffic. Neighborhoods that are affected more so by noise and some of the airport noise that we have here. We have a small airport that used to do commercial flights. Right now, it's currently only doing private planes, but still, even some of those private planes can cause some noise. We've got a couple of trains that run through the city of Salem, so some of those neighborhoods will be affected by the trains. One's a cargo train and one's a passenger train, but both of them make noise. We have neighborhoods that are more affected by some of the traffic patterns. So again, these are things that you want to be aware of and thinking about when you're visiting Salem for the purposes of moving here. Come check out neighborhoods during the morning hours between 7 a.m., 9 a.m. See what the little traffic's like. Also on the back end between maybe 4 and 6 p.m. Look at traffic flow for what it's going to be like to commute to work, traffic flow to school, or whatever your activities are going to be for your kids after school or on the weekends. There are a lot of different nuances, again, that we have here in Salem. So we have historic zones, we've got older homes, new construction. So all sorts of things to think about that play a factor when considering moving to Salem. So who is Salem ultimately for? Who's a good fit for? Well, I could say everybody because in some ways that is the case, but let's go into a little bit more of detail. We moved here with a family, young kids, and we just wanted out of that big city life. We wanted less chaos, less noise, less hustle, less traffic, less congestion, more of a sense of space and place to breathe. And Salem was just the right fit for us. Pacific Northwest is where we wanted to be. We did not want large cities, and we just found this a great place for us coming out of Southern California. to raise our family with 2 young kids, and we couldn't be any happier. We've got a lot of people that I've helped move here that are retirees, thinking about they're just done with wherever they're living, and they're looking at the Pacific Northwest as a great place to explore with a lot of outdoor activities. Again, calm, slow pace of life, just a great place for retirees. People that work from home, another good option because we have a much lower cost of living here in Oregon or in Salem, that people come here when they can take their job with them. So they can live wherever they want, be surrounded by the wineries, surrounded by farmland, surrounded by nature here in Salem, and not have to deal with the grind and the hustle with having to be in a big city because of their job. So people come to Salem, again, for that slower paced life. People that are moving to Salem are also people looking for an opportunity to buy a home. Maybe it's too expensive in Portland or Eugene or Bend or other cities in the Pacific Northwest, or wherever it is that you're moving from. This is a good opportunity to purchase a home, with the median home price here being so much less than what you'd find in large cities. Now, who is this city really not for? It's people that are still in that part of their life or still want to be in this big entertainment zone with lots of attractions and entertainment surrounding them with a massive nightlife. We do not have that here in Salem. Things close early. Downtown businesses tend to close early. Sometimes they don't open on certain days. And so that was for me back in when I was younger, didn't have kids, just a different part of my life. I love going to the clubs, the bars. I love massive concerts, all of that, surrounded by just that buzz. I wanted that. Different part of my life now. I don't want that at all. I had that. I don't want it anymore. The good thing is with Salem, you're close to it. If you need it, then you're an hour away from Portland. You can go up and get it, but you don't have to live in it. You're close to the Cascade Mountains. You're close to the coast. You're close to Eugene for a college town or Corvallis for a college town. So you're right central. You could be and have everything that you want, but still live that quieter life. But if you do need to be in that hustle, if you need to be in the buzz, if you need nightlife, things that are open, staying up late, this city's not going to be for you. Probably not a good fit for you. Now, if I have any advice for you before moving to Salem, come visit here a few times if you can. Come during different seasons if you can. I know it's not practical for everybody. Also, stay here for longer than a weekend. Come explore during the weekdays to see what weekday traffic is like. Enjoy the attractions. We still do. We still go to all the attractions. We love the entertainment here. But of course, explore the city in a different lens. Look at it from what it's going to be like, your day-to-day life, your lifestyle here. Look at your commutes. Look at different neighborhoods for what they have to offer and what you're looking for in your lifestyle. And if at all possible, do a short-term rental for a transition before you buy a home, if that's possible. I know for a lot of my clients, that's not necessarily in the stars for them. They just purchase right away. But if you can, I recommend that. Talk to locals as much as possible. See what their lifestyle is like. I highly recommend that as well. And if you are thinking about making that move and buying a home here, please reach out. I help people relocate here all of the time. I understand what you're going through. This is what my experience was as someone who relocated here. Again, not a local, so I can definitely understand a lot of the things that you're going through. So again, reach out to me. Contact information popping up or in the description below. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this so you understand the lifestyle of Salem, Oregon. Hit the like button to get this out to more people like yourselves thinking about moving here. And of course, comment below. I'll answer any questions there as well.